Hey guys, so today we're going to begin talking about vector design. Now you've probably already watched that video that I posted on D2L about what the difference is between vector art and raster art. So what we'll do now is we will just kind of take a look at some of the different ways that we can use Adobe Illustrator to create really clean shapes and create some really interesting graphic elements with those shapes. Let's go ahead and press Create New, and you'll see a similar window pop up. This little dialog box that gives you different templates, mobile templates here for like your iPhone or your Android, web templates for like just a normal browser screen or a large screen or very different things. Various little web templates here, what your browser might look like on different monitors. Print options, and it usually gives you different paper sizes. Letter, if I were to go over here to points and say inches. Letter is your 8.5 inch by 11 inch. Your A4 page is this right here. In inches, it's not quite 8.5 by 11. The idea with an A4 page, this is mostly European, is that if you were to kind of like look at this, like say for instance we said 8.2 to 11. If I put this into like millimeters, I want to say. So we've got 210 to 297. If for instance we were to fold this in half, an A4 page would be the same ratio in terms of width and height as it would be just from before, as opposed to a letter page. When you fold it in half, one way, it's a different ratio. Legal obviously is your 8.5 by 17 or 14. Tablet is your 17 by 11. So let's just click on any one of these things. Let's go change it to inches just so we can have a unit of measurement that we're kind of familiar with. And we'll just click 5, and we'll click 5 for each one of these things. And for artboards, have 1, and just everything else is going to leave the same. And we'll just press Create. In this case, we're in color mode CMYK because we're in print. Now let's press Create. So we should see this little white square here. If you want to see the entire square, we can go to View, Fit Artboard, and Window, and we can see the entire square here. Now you should see several things that look familiar. For instance, over here we have things like fill and stroke and opacity. Layers, we have libraries here, which we don't really use, so I'm just going to right click and close that out. But over here we have a assortment of tools. And so one of the tools we have over here is the rectangle tool. So if you see that rectangle tool, go ahead and click on that and just draw a rectangle. Just click and drag your mouse and you'll have a little rectangle here. Now with the rectangle tool, what's interesting is they call these things live shapes because you don't have to change the tool. And if I were to use Photoshop, I wouldn't be able to change the shape unless I clicked over to my Move tool. But in Illustrator, we don't have to. In Illustrator, we can just use the same shape tool to resize it and to make it a different shape and stuff, make a different ratio. For instance, if I want to make it a square, I can move it up there. But let's go over here to our appearance and click on Fill and just choose one of these swatches below. Besides white, I'll choose blue. And go over here to Stroke. Click on the little icon next to Stroke. And let's choose this little white square with the red slash through it so we can have no stroke. Now one neat thing you can do with these shapes, I'll get in a little closer here, is we can kind of hover over this little dot in the corner here, not this dot right here, over like that's on the corner, but this little dot right here, we can kind of drag it towards the center. Oops. You can kind of drag it towards the center to round out the corners. I'm having a hard time getting a grip on these. There we go. So you pull it towards the corner, and then it rounds off the corners. Now, what's towards the center? It rounds off the corners. So if I were to drag it all the way to the center, you can see it's turning into a circle here. If I were to, once again, drag it and pull it out towards the edge, it would become less of a circle, more of a rounded rectangle. I'm just going to undo that by pressing Control Z. So let's leave that there for now. We have ourselves a rounded square, a square with rounded corners. Let's go over here and where the square tool is, and we can hold that down with the mouse button, and we can just click on our Polygon tool. Now, if you click once, it'll give you an option on how many sides to choose. I'm going to go ahead and choose 3, and I'll leave that blank because I can resize it later. And once again, we can see ourselves. We have a little triangle here. Once again, we can grab it and we can stretch it, and we can pull it different ways. We can make it, in any shape we want it to. I'll just leave it like this. I'll just have that there. And then finally, let's make ourselves a circle. A little too fast. Go back to View, Fit, Artboard, and Window, and I'm back. Okay. So one neat thing about this, let me actually grab the Move tool real quick. If you start moving your objects around, you might see these little magenta lines pop up. These are called smart guides. They just help you line things up to things that are already on your board. So if I were to like kind of snap that there, I can make them the same width. All right, let's hold down on our Polygon tool to find our ellipse tool. And once again, we are kind of given these little pink lines here to let us know that we're making a perfect circle. We can always hold down Shift to constrain it to a circle. And we can always resize them to be a similar shape. And once again, if you click anywhere, it'll allow you to adjust the height and width of your ellipse before you put it down. Okay, so before we go any further, let's talk a bit about shapes and how we can make shapes interact. So like Photoshop, if I held down the Alt key and just drag, I'd make a copy. I'm going to take this copy, I'm going to change its color here from, say, blue to, say, red, and or some kind of color that's just not blue. And I'm going to shrink it down. I'm going to hold down Shift, and I'm going to shrink it down real small, not real small, but maybe about, half as big as it once was. And let's see if we can't move that into this circle's center here. I'm going to pull this over this way. Interest now. So I'll move this into the center of the circle here. And I can't quite get to the center. Here we go. It'll snap to it. So now it's kind of sitting there. As you can see, we have this little target shape here. We can take our selector tool. We can just sort of click and drag, and we'll select them both. And what's neat about Photoshop, Photoshop is, you can make selections, and you can obviously delete things. With Photoshop, with Illustrator, we have this thing called the Shape Builder tool, and the Shape Builder tool will allow us to combine shapes. For instance, if I wanted just to drag this across, these two shapes would become one, and whatever was on top would affect the colors of the other thing. If I wanted to use the shape controller to take something away, I'd come in here and I would just click once with the Alt key held down, and it would punch out that shape there. So for instance, if I were to change this to a different color, say for instance red, and I could drag this up, you would see the other shapes kind of shining through because it's totally punched out. And so that's a real powerful tool. It seems kind of simple right now, but it's real powerful to be able to quickly do that with the Shape Builder tool. Let's build another shape here. What we'll do, I'll change this back to blue, and let's grab our move tool here, and let's hold down Alt, and let's just drag this triangle out here, and let's grab our ellipse tool. And let's make ourselves a little circle. I'll make it kind of small, and let's take our move tool here. And click on our triangle. Let's pull our triangle, make it kind of skinny. Maybe about yay big. And we'll take this this little circle, we'll make it a bit smaller. And let's pull it to the center of our triangle here. And we can hold down Shift, we can hold down the mouse, but we just drag it up until we keep it centered until it kind of hits the tip of the little square there. In fact, what I'll do is I'll shrink it down a little bit more. Kind of tiny circle on top of this triangle there. Alright, and so let's do the same thing we did before. Let's grab this, select both of them, grab our Shape Maker tool, and let's just pull our Shape Maker tool through both of them. So now they're combined into one. So I've got that. Alright, so with these shapes here, we're going to build ourselves a little robot, a little toy robot. So let's take this, let's go ahead, let's start off with this square here. I'm going to hold down the Alt button, and I'm going to drag this square out here. And I'm just going to make it a bit more of a rectangular shape here. And I'm going to hold down the Alt button, and I'm going to drag out one of these circles. And I'm going to change the fill to, say, red. And I'm going to shrink that down a good deal. And let's pull it up into the square over here. We'll shrink it down a little more. And let's see if we can't move it until we see that little magenta line. And to let us know it's in there. Let's hold down the Alt key and let's kind of pull it off to the side here, make sure it's centered. And at some point it should. That's fine. Right. And we'll just hold these two together, hold down Shift. So if I click on one, click on the other, it'll deselect the one that I did, but hold down Shift and select, then I'll select more than one. And I can kind of move these together to see if I can't get them centered with this square here. I'm centered on both sides, both horizontally and vertically. here. All right. So let's click and drag and select all of them, and let's get our shape maker tool here, shape builder rather, and let's hold down the Alt key. Let's just click on these little circles, which will then punch out the eyes, as it were. So you can see I can move this over here. Oh, I left one of my eyes behind. So you can see it kind of shines through there as I'm moving around. All right, so let's see if I can't make sure that these are all the same shape. I'll get my shape builder tool here, and I'm going to see if I can't drag through all of these shapes. Oops. All right, let's undo that. We'll leave that there for now. All right, so let's grab our little shape here, our little keyhole shape, as it were. Get our move tool, and first off, let's grab one of these guys and let's pull it off to the side of our circle here. Let's make a really thin. Oops. Let's hold down Alt and select Alt and move, and let's make a really thin kind of shape here. Real thin. In fact, we can actually even pull our corners out a little bit here. Make it even thinner. Maybe make it even a little bit shorter. And pull it down until it's centered with the head here. We'll call this our robot head. And then we'll take our little key shape here, hold down Alt and drag it out. And then we can use our little rotate tool by hovering over the corners until we see this little double-headed curved arrow. You hold down Shift, it'll constrain it to 15 degrees. So you see it's like kind of snapping to 15, like it's going from 90 to, you know, in this case, you know, 45 to, 90 again. So it's every 45 degrees or so. Let's get it to where it's on a right angle, and let's sort of like kind of push it right up here next to this shape here. And we'll even shrink this down a little bit. Right there. So give it a little antenna. Alright, and so let's get our shape builder tool, and we'll just combine these shapes here. Oops, first off, we have to select them. So let's get our move tool, press V on the keyboard, select both of these shapes here, and let's get our shape builder, and we'll just sort of combine these into one. Alright, so once again, I'm just going to hold down Alt, and I'm just going to drag this around, hold down Alt, drag it. Right. I'll rotate it 180 degrees. I'll pull it over to the other side as well. Maybe we can sort of center this a bit better. There we go. Right. Over here. I'm going to hold down Shift and select with these. And I'll just nudge them over by arrow keys a bit. That's right. All right. So let's take our rectangle here, and what we'll do is we'll hold down Alt. We'll just drag it down, and we'll see if we can't make a sort of a body for it here. Oops. Hold down Shift and make this rounded rectangle a bit bigger. I'll make it more rectangular in shape, so I'll let go of Shift. Let's see if we can't move it to where it's centered with the head here. And we'll press Alt and we'll make a new rectangle. And we'll color this one a different color. We'll call it, say, for instance, red. And we'll see if we can't maybe squeeze this into a square. And we'll just make this a little oblong here. Like so. We can leave, it doesn't matter precisely how big it is, so long as it's centered. Alright, so this right here needs to be above the blue. So right now it's kind of sitting there behind the blue, so if I go to Object and I go to Arrange, I could say Bring to Front, and this red object will be in the front now. So I'll just pull that down where I want it. And I'll just pull this back up here. I'll just click on this and so I can expand the size of my red rectangle here. Once again, making sure it's in the center of this shape. And then I'll select both of them, get my shape builder tool, hold down the Alt key, and click on the red rectangle, thus punching out that little bit there. Alright, so with my move tool selected, I'm going to see if I can't kind of nudge this back into place here. That's good. Alright, so let's grab a couple of our little donut shapes here. So 2 of those. Let's grab one of our rectangles, hold down Alt, pull that down as well. And let's shrink it down some. And let's see if we can make a little arm for our robot. So I'm going to see if I can't take the corners and just pull them up to total, squareness here. And I'm going to hold down Shift, and I'm going to select each one of these things. I'm going to go down here to Shift, and I'm going to click each one of these guys. And you'll notice that once I have more selected over at my Properties panel, this little thing called Align pops up. And you have this little bit here that says Align to Artboard. I'm going to click on that and say Align to Selection. And I'm going to see if I can't hold this button down. This is Vertical Align Center to get them all centered there. And thus, going back to my Move tool, my Shape tool, I'll just click on each one of these little shapes here, not the ones in the center of those circles there. And thus I'll have my little robot arm. So let me just shrink this down a little bit here. And I'll rotate it. I won't rotate it a full 90 degrees. What I'll do is I'll rotate it like maybe 70 degrees or so. And kind of pull this up here. Let's do it like this. Okay. And then we'll do the same thing to the other side here. I'll just hold down the Alt key, I'll drag this over, and I can just rotate it around. So, I can just pull this right here. It's going to go off the artboard, but it's okay. We'll move it back down when we're done. And then finally, let's give him some legs, and his legs will be pretty simple. What we'll do is we'll just pull one of these squares down here. Alt, just pull this square down here, and I'll just shrink it down to like a short little rectangle here. And I'll just pull that over to the side, another short little rectangle here. And let's give them like a little joint here. So I'm gonna shrink this even more. I'll just get rid of this for now. And I'll just hold down Alt and I'll just drag this out. And I'll shrink down my little donut shapes and kind of jam it right here, like it's a bit of a joint. There we go. On Shift, Alt, drag, and you can drag down 2 of them at the same time. And I'm going to hold down Shift. I'm going to grab it from the corner here. I'm going to hold down Shift. I'm just going to drag it from the corner until I can get to the other side here. I'm just going to mirror it like this. If you drag it by the side control, you can kind of flip it around like so. Get about even. I'll move it in a similar spot. And then we'll just grab our rectangle here. We'll make them feet. Like so. Alright, and then we'll just pull this out a little bit here. Maybe even take our corners about out a bit. Okay, so we'll do the same thing to the other side. We'll just pull this up to the side here. Okay, neat. Okay, so these might need to be a little bit bigger here, so I'm just going to grab all of these shapes here. Maybe just elongate them a little bit. Maybe not the circles. I'll leave the circles away. I'll hold down Shift. If you hold down Shift and select, then you can select not. You can deselect things. Okay, and let's do one more. Let's hold down Alt and let's drag this little antenna up to the top of his head here. I'll just give a little antenna on the top of his head. And I'll shrink that down some. Alright, okay, so now we've got that done. Let's just go ahead and get rid of our shapes here, little shapes on this side. And let's select everything. And what we'll do is we're going to go over here to Object and hit Group. And we're going to go over here to Align and select Artboard and center it both vertically and horizontally. So it's both in the center, both vertically and horizontally. And so now let's do this. Let's go over here to File, Save. And you'll notice that the file type we're going to be saving is an Adobe Illustrator file. So just, find a place where you can save all your vector art and just call this robot. And we'll press OK. Now this is one of those things, you can actually open this up in the internet, and you may be able to right click on it and say open with Internet Explorer or Chrome. But if you want to, before we turn to D2L, let's go over here and go to save as. I want to say we have only a few options here. Okay, so we have, these are all vector file types. PDF, EPS, SVG. We'll talk about all those things. Let's press cancel. Let's go to File, Save a Copy. And here we can probably choose, oops, never mind. Let's go here to File, Export. And let's say Export As. And we'll just call this a PNG. We'll call it Robot PNG and press Export. And so you can see right here we've got the background colors to be transparent, and we'll just press OK. And if I were to go find that, I want to say, I say that under GIFs, let me go to my pictures. That's a GIF ingredient, video to GIF. Let's see here. GIF. Not quite. Let's go here to pictures. How about videos? GIF images. There we go. So open this up. You can see it just shows up as like this little robot shape on a black background. And this will pixelate as I get bigger, but the other shape won't pixelate as you get bigger. So that's a little robot friend. So you can, resize it to where you want it to go and, make it your own. But that's how you work with shapes in Adobe Illustrator. All right, well, very cool. Can't wait to see what you guys produce.